The Constitution of the state of Texas is 140 years old. At the time it went into effect in 1876, 20% of the population lived in the city and 80% lived in the rural areas. Today, 84% of the population of Texas lives in the urban areas. This Constitution has 95,000 plus words. Only Alabama does better than us with 262,000. It's been amended nearly 500 times. Isn't it time for a constitutional convention to give Texas a constitution that is workable for its present society? And if so, how would you craft such a thing?
So a state constitutional convention. Now, some of us may know that was tried the last time back in the late 1970s.
1975, it was an embarrassment.
They got all the way down there and they came up with a new constitution. And believe it or not, they got hung up over the issue of right to work. Not as big, pretty much a settled issue today, but back then there was a big debate among labor and business forces about whether we should be a right to work state. It's pretty well set now. And background-wise, this is a sophisticated group. I want to insult your intelligence, but the Constitution of 1876 was drafted like it was because you've read that was the end of the Reconstruction. Reconstruction was kind of a tough time on Texas. There was an oppressive military government ruling Texas. So when that ended, and they got to write their own constitution, they wrote a constitution that shackled the government, limited the government in every possible way. We agree with that concept, but they made it so specific. That's why, how many of us remember those amendments? You'll have an amendment to abolish the county surveyor in Brazoria County. Remember seeing stuff like that on the constitutional ballot? Because there's stuff that ought to be in a statute that's in the Constitution. It needs to be fixed. I will say this, respectfully, of all the issues we have to work on, we ought to do that, but I think we have higher priority things to deal with first. Am I for a new constitution, a new state constitution, just so we can preserve the Bill of Rights that's in the state constitution? You bet, absolutely. We can do it. We can pattern it after the U.S. Constitution. The one we have is too specific. I will say this, I wouldn't say it's a crisis. I would say it's working, but we could have a more efficient, cleaner Texas Constitution. That's my opinion. Is that what you're talking about?
Okay. We'll agree to disagree.
Okay.
Mr. Lee.